Hi everyone, my name is Chris, and welcome to the all-new, all-different anime debate. I don't know why I'm saying that, because it's the same thing. I'm just comparing two anime head-to-head. But this time, I'm going to take a different approach, and I'm going to compare two anime that I haven't seen the entirety of, because they're currently still airing. Now, the goal is to go back and revisit these series a little bit later as they go down the line, but I just wanted to get a quick first impression of my comparison of these two shows. So, here on Anime Debate, we, of course, as I said earlier, we compare two anime head to head. And this season, there are two shows in particular that have really gotten my attention. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that throughout this entire thing, I'm not going to show a lot of footage because the videos get pulled down or get claimed when I do show a lot of footage. So instead, I'm going to show just some random stuff going on in my life. So hopefully you guys dig that and it'll be a fresh take on an anime review. So with that said, I am here to compare Dr. Stone versus Fire Force. Now, why am I comparing these two? Because they are the two that, to me, are the most shonen-y shonen of the two, and I like comparing shonen more than comparing other series, and I just really dig what they're both putting down. They're both really good shows, but which one is better is probably the question to answer today. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's compare the story slash the plot. Dr. Stone. Now, when you first look at the imagery for the show, you immediately think that Senku is the main character, which he is, but you also think that his name's probably going to be Dr. Stone, when in reality, that's not quite how it goes down. Now, this show is about high schoolers who are hanging out in high school, doing high school things, and then all of a sudden, some rays come down from from outer space, and everyone on the planet gets locked and becomes covered in stone, literally. And of course, for some reason or another, we don't know why, Senku breaks free of his stone prison, and then he goes about trying to find other survivors, but doesn't. The other main character, which we'll call Lunkhead for now, he breaks free of his stone prison as well, right as he comes to. He remembers the last thing that he was working on doing before everything went down, which was confessing his love to a girl in his high school. And he's a very simple character, but he works. But that's pretty much it. So these two wake up, and these two are hanging out together, and one is the muscle, the other is the brains, and they're trying to figure out how to free everyone from their stone prisons. Now over to Fire Force, it's a little bit different. This is another kind of world where a phenomenon happens where people are spontaneously combusting and basically becoming monsters that these trained firefighters, if you will, go to fight every single week, every single day, every single moment whenever something goes down. Now, the thing that makes this a little bit, a bit of a different take on the monster of the week thing is that these aren't just monsters; these are actual people. So it could be like, let's say, like your mom all of a sudden spontaneously combusts and becomes a monster. Now these firefighters, or fire force if you will, have to go and essentially kill her to free her soul, because she's now been corrupted by whatever caused her to spontaneously combust. Now, some people in the world here that we live in have abilities that are basically fire, fire-esque, and they have abilities that are pretty, varied. Some people can control fire by bringing it into almost sentience. Some people can, hone it into a sword. Some people, like Shinra, can literally like fly around with fire from his feet. And it's just, I think it's going to be like that. We're going to find more and more people throughout this universe that have these abilities. And really, this becomes a thing where the plot is, first of all, why are people spontaneously combusting? And B, how do we stop it? And also, again, Monster of the Week, every week they have to defeat something different. And if I go back to Dr. Stone for a second, they have an event of the week where basically I think they're going to have to free a new person, and that new person that gets freed changes the dynamic of the show. You think about how, you introduce a new friend, or rather, on Overwatch. In the game Overwatch, whenever they introduce a new character, it changes the entire balance of the game. Because some characters that were once OP are no longer OP, because a new character might throw off their abilities, because they might be stronger in some ways and whatnot. So I think that makes both these shows very interesting, because the closer and closer we get to figuring out A, the mysteries, or B, figuring out who's going to get free next, or C, figuring out, kind of what originated these phenomenons, we get deeper into the shows rather. And so if I'm going to compare the two as far as plot goes, to be completely honest, they're both really good. I really have a hard time choosing one or the other, but I feel like I've seen the formula that we're dealing with from both of these shows pretty like standard for a lot of anime, a lot of shonen. And I'm gonna say that just because Fire Force seems to have more heart in its story, like I really do feel more for the characters there, I'm gonna give it to them. So Fire Force, you get the first point in the anime debate. Next, let's move on to animation / art. Now, both of these shows have aesthetics that I would almost say are beautiful. They are very well animated. They look great. But to be completely honest, Dr. Stone has a more unique look where you have like lines on people's faces that don't really make sense. I don't know why those lines are there. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm just saying for the look and the feel, though, overall, for sure, I got to give it to Dr. Stone. It has a more simplistic animation style. Things aren't as fluid and moving around. They kind of take a lot of still shots and move things slowly in the frame, but I like the way it looks. It feels very organic. Every character has a lot of like life to it. It's more cartoony for sure, but I think that's what you want when you watch an anime. You want something that isn't structured fully in reality. Now, I'm not saying that Fire Force is structured in reality, because you have characters here who have like sharp teeth that no one seems to notice, and they have like the demon eyes that, again, no one seems to notice. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen this before. Fire Force reminds me a lot of Naruto Shippuden. Reminds me a lot of what is that thing called? Crap, I can't remember. It's an anime that everybody loves. It's really old. Why am I forgetting this thing? It reminds me a lot of Luffy D. One Piece. I see a lot of that in this show. And just because it's not so unique, Dr. Stone wins that point for the anime debate. Now let's move over to music. Music is, now to be fair, music in both of these shows is leveraged pretty well. But just straight up and right away, I'll tell you that I feel like Fire Force takes more chances. They use more varied types of music. I feel like Dr. Stone, in reverse of the animation, plays it pretty safe and doesn't do too much to really push things, in a different direction than we've seen before. Both shows have like their basic OPs. You have your one OP that has the rap. You have your one OP that has the dee starts up, the way you expect it to start up. Like nothing is really particularly special, but I'm just saying that Fire Force is seeming to take slightly more chances when it comes to the music. Now let's move over to characters, which is my favorite part of the anime debate. Now characters. Now, it's hard because both of these shows have characters that are pretty atypical. You have a character who appears on the show in the second episode of Dr. Stone, who is so strong, he punches a lion in the face and has absolutely no fear around that. And I'm like, bro, like, you're in high school. You're in freaking high school. I get it. You're a strong dude. But you just punched I almost cursed. You just punched a lion in the face. And you're like, yeah, that's cool. I do that. I'm strong. But then you get to know that character deeper, and you find out that he has an opposing ideology to Senku, which is like, what? Whoa. You're not just going to become like a character of the week that just joins the crew and that's it. It feels like to me that his opposing ideology is actually a pretty big deal, which is a minor spoiler, but he kind of reveals that he thinks that we should only free pure young people and not free any adults, because adults will want to go take things back to the way the life used to be, because of course you're in society now that has to be start over, and he fears that adults will want to put rules and provisions on things and want money and compensation, and he wants to have a more free system. But Senku, of course, is like, nah, man, we gotta free everybody. That's not up to me to decide. I'm not the god of this world. So when you get into that level, the characters become a little bit deeper, or at least that character does, and I do dig that. But for the most part, most characters here are pretty much one note. They all kind of have their one quirk, and that one quirk is what defines them, or so it feels like so far. Again, we need to get deeper into the show. I need more episodes than just 2 to really tell you that, which we'll revisit when we come back and do the long run review versions of these 2 shows. So I will say, though, that this show does work more as an ensemble. Like, I wouldn't want to watch just one of the characters in Dr. Stone hang out. I want to see them all come together. I do want to see what happens when we revive some women into the show, because that'll create more tension and a little bit of drama. I do think that the dynamics will change as you enter new characters into the show, which means that we will see them get slightly more fleshed out. Now, over on the side of Fire Force, I feel like these characters are, again, I said earlier, pretty atypical, but it works. Like I feel like Shinra is our typical character who's a fish out of water of sorts because he's different. He can't smile like a regular person does. He has the fire tendency. He grew up kind of being hated by people in his family. He grew up being picked on. He feels different. He has something to prove. He's basically Naruto. He's literally Naruto, not even a joke. And the thing is, I dig it. I like it. It feels right. It feels good. But at the same time, again, I feel like I've played this game. I've seen this story before. You got the girl who's kind of boy crazy, which is a slightly different take. You normally have the boy who's girl crazy. But you've got, the character that's like really pure-hearted. You got the character who comes in and becomes his rival, who, but the thing is, I like their rivalry is a little bit different though, because instead of it being, you're different from me, I hate you, it's more like, I'm joking around about hating you. I don't really hate you, but it's more fun to have this thing go on between us, which is it's kind of a fresh take. So it's not like another Naruto Sasuke situation. It's not another Goku Vegeta situation. This feels like it's a fresh take on that whole kind of deal. But I do feel like we're gonna go back to the next episode, like episode 3 probably, and they'll have reset their rivalry all over again. And I could see this show going on for a long time. But the aspect where they have the mysteries, thrown in, it really does flesh out the characters a lot more, and you see them for more than just being jokes. Because a lot of characters here could be taken for purely laughs, and they're not, and I love that about them. But if I'm being honest, I just see more potential in Dr. Stone's characters. Again, they're both pretty much, normal characters you see in shows. But I do feel like the heart that comes from Fire Force really does resonate a lot more. Like I really feel myself feeling things for these characters, even though I feel like they were a little weak at parts. So for that reason, I'm going to give the anime debate to Fire Force. Fire Force's characters can and will be fleshed out. I think the dynamics in Dr. Stone may change, but there'll always be those one-note characters. I don't see them changing too much over the duration of the series. Now let's move over to overall, because these are both good shows. These shows are both done very, very well. And I have to ask myself, though, which show has the most potential to become better and better as time goes on? Which show could find itself becoming, say, a fairy tale, if you will, where it loses its path because it goes on way too far and way too deep? Like, I asked myself about, really with Dr. Stone, like, where does this go once they revive enough people? Do we now have a society? Are we just watching society unfold? Are there other dangers? Are there enemies? Do we find out that we unlock the wrong person and now that everything is in danger? Where does it end? Because at some point they just have to just keep building society, and then it becomes One Piece where it just goes on forever. But on the other side, though, you have Fire Force, where the mystery there is like, how and why do people spontaneously combust? How can we stop this? Who is the big bad that made this all happen? This one could also go on forever as well. But with everything pulled together, and just because I think I felt more from this show than I did with Dr. Stone. Fire Force is, to me, the superior show so far. It has more heart, the action is better, and the characters have a lot further to go to be fleshed out. Now, I do find Dr. Stone to be very interesting, and I do want to see what happens each week as we unlock each and every person from the world and see how they change things. But I just feel like at some point it can and likely will go flat if it goes on too long. Now, I know a lot of people love Dr. Stone, so I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. It's great. But if I'm comparing the two, I feel like I would rather watch, and I am entertained more by watching Fire Force on a weekly basis. So that, to me, guys, is the answer. Fire Force, baby. Now, let's see if I'm right. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back and revisit these shows in the future, and you guys are going to let me know if I was right or wrong. Let me know down below what your opinion is, which are you like better between these two, and what you want to see me compare next on the next anime debate. And if you like this format of me just kind of doing my thing, man, of just showing footage over me discussing things, I would love to hear your thoughts. My name is Chris, and you have been animated. Watch the other videos, guys, and I'll see you next time. Anime out.